All right, Wagwan Piftings, welcome back to the channel. I'm going to show you something a little bit gross because I've been working on a little video where I'm supposed to be using sculpting brushes made by a friend to, add some details to creature sculpts. And I've been doing some production stuff for a future personal project. And I just wanted to show you something kind of gross that I did. I'm calling it a space leech. It's not technically a correct term for it, but basically it's a leech-like creature that if we take a look here, you can see that this is the original sculpt. Got two kind of tissue patterns, one underneath, one on top. They are supposed to be egg-like here. And it's also somewhat rigged as well, although I don't have much experience with it, so it's a very, very bad rig. But it's enough to get a kind of, gross amount of movement going out of it. And my friend, Charon, absolutely hates this. He hates looking at it because he finds it, particularly gross. But there were a couple of techniques I used in this that, you might find interesting. Let me grab an area light and I can show you something. So as you can see, on this leech-like creature, we've got a standard black material with a certain amount of sheen. I can actually just show you here. It started off as a material from my Afterglow lighting pack, because I've got some basic materials there, and it's been passed through the principal BSDF. But we can see there's extra stuff happening here. We've got two textures. One of them is the leech belly map, and one of them is the leech pads map. So the idea is on this creature, these pads here are somewhat adhesive. It was what it uses to kind of move itself along the surface it's sticking to. Leeches, they're they're kind of semi-aquatic. It needed something where there wasn't much of an air gap, in principle. So it's only got these pads that it's going to be moving around on. And then this egg section under its belly. Now, for getting the different shading here, you can see that it's kind of semi-transparent, right? There are a couple of methods I've used for doing stuff like that in the past. And whatever method you want to use depends on the kind of purpose. So a little while ago, I did this xenobiology one where I used geometry proximity. Let me see if I can actually grab that file. This one here. I use geometry proximity of floating objects to decide what parts of the mesh will be subsurface and which will be transparent or transmissive. So you can see there's a very slight gradient of pink there from a subsurf that goes down and then it becomes more transmissive, etc., etc. So that method is good because it means that as you're sculpting, you can preview those effects while you're still making rather large and sweeping changes to the object. However, for this one, I decided that since I was done with the sculpt and since I had kind of rigged it a little bit already, I thought, we can go the texture route. So I just did a smart UV project, which means obviously we get the ugly UV map because the geometry is extremely dense, because this is for just animated short production. Who gives a damn? After that was done, I took it into the texture paint mode. And one thing I really like about Blender is if you create texture maps, like in the image or UV editor, and bring them into your shader editor, whatever one you click on becomes the active one you can paint. Obviously, we need to set that to white. So I effectively literally just paint white on black masks, and we get some artifacts because of the poor UV mapping, right? But that's kind of expected. If I put more effort into that, then that wouldn't be a problem. But again, it doesn't matter. From the distance that anyone would be looking at it, it's a leech. People would probably be looking at it from that far away. You know what I mean? So the amount of detail actually on it is kind of insane. So we create the white on black masks. And then because they're white on black, where white represents 1 and black represents 0, we can use those as masks. In the shader editor, you might think of those as factors, the factor value, to control the mixing of any other value, color, roughness, normal, whatever, or in this case, shaders. So what we're saying here is where the white on black is on the leech belly map, we're going to give it this reddish, orangey, purple look, which is the egg-like section. And you can see we've also made that highly subsurface and highly transmissive. And then likewise for the pads, we're going for more of a blue effect here. So that's why it looks like that. And then with a light source behind, then you can get it looking like the light bleeds through. Okay, so I wasn't supposed to make this video to start with, but I thought, you know what? Sure, let's just give you a bit of an update on that. But yeah, again, I haven't even got the IK properly right on this, so it is kind of awkward, messing around and making it bend. And obviously we've got the chain snapping that happens when it can't resolve properly. But because I was just kind of figuring this out as I went along, I've now realized how to do it. And I think, you know what, next time I'll put more bones in, I'll make the chain proper, and then it'll be more appropriate. But there might be some people wondering, Curtis, why the flip have you made a space leech? What the hell is that all about? But I think it'll be nice if you learn about that more, if I finally do something with it. So for now, just enjoy the weirdness of it, I guess. And I'll leave it there. I do really like the look of the sheen and the color with the light going on. Oh, and by the way, this file is available on my Patreon under the Members Lounge because I'm going to be making my production files for the larger project available through the members lounge for $5 tier members and above. A bit like how the Blender Studio makes its files available, I will make mine available as well. So have a great day, everyone, and I'll see you next time.